What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to the channel. We got a little preview of Update 1.2 for Dungeon Defenders Awakened today, so let's hop right on in and go through all the goods. Now, before we get started here, there will, of course, be a link down in the description. Of course, there was also a dev stream today. However, the dev stream doesn't have near as much of the info as just the forum post does. So, by all means, head over and check out the forum post as it has got all the goodies, links down below. Now, right at the top of the list is console development check-in. Obviously, that's going to be a massive priority for many players. There's lots of folks on console that are looking forward to a launch of Dungeon Defenders Awakened, and we still have no information at all. Now, the statement that was left here was we're currently making a ton of great strides and getting a lot of performance out of our console work. There's a lot with this type of development, not only in getting the game to run properly and at a decent frame rate, but also in meeting the technical requirements of each specific platform before we submit for certification. As we continue to progress, we'll keep you all posted. Now, to take that a little bit further and to go over what we do know, of course, there is a Switch exclusivity period that will run for an unknown amount of time. At this point, they did say it was a short exclusivity, but the game will be launching on Switch first. In addition to that, Nat has mentioned in the past that it will take about 6 weeks to go through the initial certification to get launched on the Switch, and when they hit that stage of development where they have submitted for certification, they will keep us posted. So basically, we'll get a 6-week notice of when it's going to launch on Switch, and then PlayStation and Xbox will come later after the Switch launch. We don't know what that period is. Now, jumping right on into Update 1.2 itself, one of the big teases, it was teased and kind of leaked over the last several weeks, but we are getting a Rift mode. Now, Rift mode is going to be a toggle similar to Hardcore, so it will be available on every tier. Meaning, if you prefer to play Rift mode, you'll be able to play Rift mode just right out of the gates in hard mode. No need to be in Massacre mode to enable Rift mode, so that's a good thing. It is something coming to the game for players of all levels. Now, what exactly is a Rift mode? Rift mode is available in Campaign and Survival, and Rift mode serves to evolve the challenge and experience of Dungeon Defenders Awakened. Now, what it does is it cuts the enemies in half, but introduces a new enemy type, and that is Rift enemies. So, any enemy in the game can become a Rift enemy. The Siren is already a Rift enemy, so we won't be getting a new Siren in Massacre mode. However, any of the base enemies in the game and the Nightmare enemies in the game can become Rift enemies. There will be a new weapon type that drops called a Fusion weapon that is there to help take on Rift enemies and is going to make killing Sirens considerably easier. In addition to that, there's going to be new armor set bonuses that can be target farmed to take on Rift enemies. So there will be some new armor goods coming in Update 1.2. They're also adding in a bunch of new accessories, which will lead us into a point later on. However, what exactly is the deal with Rift enemies? Well, basically, it's half of the amount of mobs with tougher mobs. So any Rift enemy that comes, goblins, for example, are going to be 33% larger, making them more of an imposing threat and potentially blocking higher priority targets from getting hit. Archers, their attack range is going to be increased, and they're going to shoot homing missiles. We're going to get pew-pewed by the archers, no doubt. And then Ogres. This one's kind of interesting. They cleared up their sinuses, and instead of throwing snot, they're going to throw Rift kobolds, which have a huge explosion. Now, that also tells me that a regular Rift kobold that could spawn is going to be a regular kobold with a big-ass explosion. So that will be interesting to see. I think this will be a really large quality of life feature, particularly for players who want to progress through to the end game, but don't have the time of dedicated grinders such as myself, or many of you all out there watching this video. Now, what are the rewards? There are going to be new weapon variations and new armor sets coming, with a ton of new accessories. Now, these rewards are going to be different, but they're not going to be more powerful per se. They're not going to be stat increases. So, whatever the stat caps or the ranges that you've gotten to now in Endgame Massacre, you're still going to be at that point. So for an Endgame Massacre grinder, this update is not going to be as big as it is for everyone else, in my opinion. Now, obviously, there will be some specialized farming going on with some really rare stuff, so there will be plenty of grind for those of you that want it out there, but this is also going to be a way for players to have a slightly higher difficulty experience as far as the Rift enemies go, but it's going to be half of the enemies, which in theory will take about half of the time to complete the maps. This, of course, is something to appeal to players of all levels. Of course, when the Massacre update hit, there was a large portion of the player base that just didn't get to experience it yet, as they're not quite to that stage in progression. Now, what's the deal with all the bazillion new accessories coming? Well, it's an interesting new feature that's coming in, and that is Transmogs. Now, Transmogs are going to be exactly what you think it is. It's going to apply to weapons. It's going to apply to your accessories, so your masks, and it's going to allow you to transmog an item. If you don't know what a transmog system is, it allows you to take an item that you previously found in the game and use that as a skin. So if you find a mask that you really, really like, and you think it looks super cool, yet you have another mask with way higher stats on it, you're going to be able to use the higher stat mask, but make it appear or transmog into the appearance of the mask that you prefer. So this is something that's super cool. It actually has been requested several times throughout the game, but it's a win-win. It's definitely going to give us a way to customize our experience a little bit further, and for those that like that sort of thing, come up with some pretty cool looking setups of our heroes. Now, in addition to the transmog system, there is also going to be an increased color palette, basically. So we're going to be able to have more customization of what our heroes look like. Bug fixes, there's a ton of bug fixes coming, nothing specifically listed, but as we all know, there's a lot of bugs in DDA still that need to get cleaned up. Some of these will be taking part. Now, this is actually a two-part update. The first part, obviously, is what we're going to get, what I've mentioned so far. Part 2 of the update is going to be coming later, and that's going to be some interesting stuff, too. And a lot of the base features, which many, including myself, feel like should have been in at the game's launch. And the biggest on that list is trading. Where the heck is the player trading? It's in DD1, it's in DD2. Where's our trading in DDA? It's coming in part 2 of this update, so we can look forward to that. Now, in addition to that, item reforging. How many times have you upgraded an armor item and forgot to go into the armor stat? Big old derp. I am guilty of that one myself personally on multiple occasions. And reforging is going to allow you to reset your upgrades. So if you want to change your build, or if you made a mistake when upgrading your armor, you're no longer locked into just throwing that piece away and getting a new one. You will be able to reset your upgrades through the reforging system at the blacksmith. Now, those Kickstarter rewards that were promised, custom enemy names, custom weapon names, custom armor names, the legend tablet, those things will all be coming in part 2 of the next big update as well. Now, when is this coming? Soon, TM. I am in the same boat as many and about pretty damn sick of hearing soon TM, to be honest with you. Though just the word soon should be completely removed from every game developer's vocabulary, 100% in my opinion, as soon to them means something entirely different than soon to us. And as long as we're not on the same page, that word can just GTFO. Now, let's dive into that and make some educated guesses, though. So, it says right in the update reveal that they want to allow a couple of weeks of testing to get things fine-tuned with this next update. As expected. So, as far as timing goes, obviously, it's going to need to get tested and dialed in first. We don't want more broken things coming to the game, so by all means, get things tested out right. We also know, they mentioned today on DevStream, that next weekend there will be a Cavalry test group player test. This is Dungeon Defenders Awaken's remote playtesting group. If you want to be involved with it, I'll put a link down in the description below as how you can get into the Cavalry. Next weekend, meaning I'm assuming Friday the 30th, Saturday the 31st, through that weekend, there will be the first playtest for Update 1.2 and Rift Mode. Now, some real big assumptions here, but assuming there is a playtest over the next 2 weekends, as was mentioned in the patch reveal, that would mean there's going to be a playtest starting on Friday, October 30th. There will be another playtest starting on Friday, November 6th, which theoretically would give us a potential earliest possible update. You figure if you got a test starting the 30th, you got another test starting on November 6th. The earliest possible we could see update 1.2 would be the week ending November 13th. Now that's very, very aggressive. That's the earliest possible in all best case scenario type situation we could get it. So I don't think that's a realistic date, to be honest with you. Things just don't go perfect, that's for sure. And I think realistically we can probably count on seeing update 1.2 around the second half, closer to the end maybe of November. I think that would be a very realistic goal or target goal date to shoot for when we can start looking out for the update. So, thank you all so much for watching. As I mentioned, all of the details are down in the description below. All the links and goodness is all down there. Thanks so much again. Don't forget to click that like button and please subscribe to the channel. Anything revolving the world of Dungeon Defenders, any news, any updates, anything at all, will all be featured right here on the channel in the future. So thank you all once again, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.